Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mom Romcom, your go-to podcast for everything motherhood,
where they keep it real, relatable, and sometimes chaotic. I'm Gunjan.
and I'm Palak. And today we are going to talk about that one thing which is so beautiful, but let's be real, it's also stressful: breastfeeding. From sore nipples to milk supply issues, there's so much to unpack.
So true. And I think in today's episode, we're going to cover everything breastfeeding from must haves to breast pumps, breastfeeding beyond a year, latching issues, milk supply issues. So you name it, we're talking about it. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so let's get started with the basics. So, Gunjan, what do you actually need to make breastfeeding easier?
Yeah, I think Palak, need is a very strong word. Technically, all you need is your baby and your boobs. But I think beyond that, there are so many things that make life easy. I think starting with something like breast pads. Initially, you're leaking your milk supply is over the roof. So when you to go out as a new mom,
Yeah.
your breast pads really help. What do you
Yeah.
think? What else helped you?
I think for me, it was mostly the nursing pillow that I bought.
Yeah.
It was really nice. I got it from Amazon. It supported my back massively because you don't want to constantly bend while you're feeding. So that's very important. The other thing that I used a lot is a nursing cover.
Yeah.
Because I really hated the idea of constantly feeding you alone, sitting in a room and not being able to talk to people. So I use that a lot. I went out, even at restaurants, I was constantly using the pillow and the cover. That was like my pack. But that was
Yeah,
everywhere.
I've actually seen you use that quite a lot.
Yes, I used it madly.
Yeah.
Then the other thing which I bought initially, I think I used it for the first month.
Yeah.
It was the nipple cream that I started using because initially you have sore nipples and I had a very bad situation at that time. So that's when I started using that cream. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I think one more thing which will constantly help you is having a bottle of water
Yeah.
wherever you go.
You're forever thirsty.
All the time, wherever you go, you just need to, whatever you're drinking is coming out of your body.
Yeah.
So, yes, you need a refill.
I think beyond that, I think for me, since I was also exclusively feeding and I was also pumping along with that to maintain my stash when I joined back work. So I think breast pumps are also a big, disability.
Definitely. Yep.
So I actually QC'd a bunch of breast pumps right from the manual Haka pump. I tried the Medela Freestyle electric breast pump, and then I eventually, when I joined back work, I moved to the wireless pump. And, I think they need to be added considering if you're looking at a long-term breastfeeding plan, you need to add those as well.
I agree.
I think one bonus tip that I have for all moms, anybody who's in the newborn phase and the postpartum fog, I think having a bedside cart made so much difference for me. I think now you guys have India, IKEA is in India, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think all you
definitely.
moms can get that on IKEA. I'll just drop a picture of my bedside cart here. So it was a 3-storied cart, but I remember sending you a picture as well.
Yes, yes.
So the top cart was for all of my snack stash because when you're feeding at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., you feel so hungry.
Yes.
So I had all my snacks in the top cart, and then the middle cart was all about my breastfeeding supplies. I had my breast pump, breast pads, nipple cream, everything. And the bottom cart was diapers, everything you need for the baby at night. And it had wheels. I literally did not need to move. I could used to just drag it towards me, and boom, I don't need anybody at 3 a.m.
Well, I think looking at you, I took inspiration and I got like a nice caddy, like a diaper caddy, which I would easily carry from one room to another.
Yeah.
And I think the one and the most important thing which both of us used was the nursing bra. Like they're so easy, they're so accessible.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can make do without them. The first few months, it is impossible.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great addition to the list if at all,
Yeah,
you're
I
starting
think
with this.
talking about feeding bras, Palak, I think I also bought a bra that was specifically for like when you're pumping, you can use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a great
Product.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was so helpful, like especially when you're using an electric pump, and it really helped. You would just clip it on your natural on normal bra that you're using, and
Yeah.
for 20
Like,
minutes your hand free.
Yeah.
Yeah, your hands free. So
That's such a bliss, man, to have your hands free while.
okay, Palak, now let's talk about something that every new mom obsessive over, milk supply. I think I would like to credit my first gray hair to milk supply issues because I was so stressed about it. And, I would like to credit it. to for all my sleepless nights also in the postpartum phase. It
Yes.
is really bothersome.
It is because when you give birth and you just start breastfeeding, it is so difficult because you're trying to understand how to latch the baby.
Yeah.
Then you're not sure if the baby is getting fed, if the milk is enough, and if your supply is good or not. I remember Googling so many questions about it. Like, I think 500 times I would have Googled about, is my kid latching fine? How do I know he's well fed? How do I know? I mean, and there's so many questions around it.
Yeah.
I went berserk for sure.
Yeah, but I think, Palak, I think from what my lactation consultant guided me at that time, and from my experience of, breastfeeding for over 2 years, is that, milk supply is majorly about demand and, supply, how much you empty your breast, how much you feed your baby on
Yeah.
demand. I think, and of course, coupled it with hydration, having lots of water. But I think beyond that, I feel, in my experience, diet also plays a major role. There are some
Definitely.
foods that help in, boosting your milk
Yeah.
supply. I used to, my average day when I was breastfeeding, my day used to start with the good old dalia with the milk. And I actually used to notice a spike in my milk supply. Like whenever my milk supply was down, my mother used to just get me a bowl of dalia, and it really helped.
It does. And I think that was one of my, I started my day only with dalia. That was my go-to breakfast. And it did, like, it does
Keeps you
make
full also, yeah. I think beyond that, I also felt I used to have overnight oats a lot, and topping it with all sorts of seeds like flax seeds, chia seeds,
absolutely.
pumpkin seeds. All of these really help in boosting your milk supply. And from what I can recall, I think anyway, we used to have a very good diet, packed with
Yeah.
protein, fruits and vegetables. But I feel beyond that, papaya and fox nuts. I remember having a lot of makhana.
Makhanas are like, they are the
Powerhouse.
Yeah, definitely. And that ajwain water that we started drinking, jeera and ajwain water, I had replaced drinking water with jeera ajwain water.
Yeah.
The good thing it did was that because it is very good for your gut, you end up removing all the toxins from your body.
So I think the bloating goes away with ajwain.
All the whatever is left inside of you after the delivery, all of it passes through. And of course, the milk supply gets another shot.
Yeah.
So a big fan of that.
I think I would like to give credit to all of this to my mom, because I just blindly followed. Mom is like, you have these things, your milk supply would get better. And trust me, all I did was I just listened to her like a good girl, and things worked in my favor. I think in addition to that, I also used to like feed Ayana on demand, and feed every 2 hours. I was on a maternity leave. I had the luxury of that.
Yeah.
I think that helped in boost.
I think this is what happens. Like, a lot of people, it's a myth. Like, people think that if they feed after a longer duration of time, they'll produce more milk, which is not true.
Yeah.
Like, not just because you're waiting for longer time doesn't mean your baby will get fed better or there'll be more milk for them. So this is a very big myth which I ended up learning the hard way. I think the other big problem is stress, because it is actually a stressful period. You're feeding, like, the nutrition of your baby is in your hands. I'm sure it is a problematic thing, right?
True. I think, Palak, stress is the biggest cause of, deteriorating your milk supply. So I think it's easier said than done.
Yep.
But stress is something that you really need to have control over. And, that is why it again brings me back to the same point that, mothers need to be taken better care of during postpartum, so that, everything falls in place if the mother is okay.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
So I think whoever's watching this, and all moms who are watching this, please just get your postpartum right. Pregnancy is anyway a cakewalk. Everybody is going to take care of you. Have a very solid postpartum plan that, okay, I have this person to take care of me. This person will take care of my meal.
Yeah.
Then back of the mind, your subconscious mind, you're mentally at peace. Only then milk supply, everything will fall into place.
Yeah, and it is very important to plan and prepare for these things. Like, breastfeeding doesn't just happen naturally.
Yeah.
You have to learn. It's a process of learning,
True.
getting comfortable with the baby,
Yeah.
letting them latch on, letting them feel fuller when they start feeding. So yeah, I think it's a process you learn along the way, and you should just go with the flow. That is so important.
And in case if things like these don't work, then obviously thanks to technology, we have doctors, we have lactation consultants.
Oh yeah.
Please, there should be more people talking about how we should have accessibility to these experts in the field, and we should be open to asking for help. I think I remember meeting a lactation consultant,
Yeah. Here in India, I think from your experience, from what I remember, in Canada, you were taught how to feed the baby before you left the hospital. And that is so important. In my case, they did not even tell me how to start with it, get started with breastfeeding. The baby was just kept on me and they expected I'll start feeding. So eventually, I had to consult a lactation expert. And that's when I learned the positions and, how to latch, how to lie down and feed, and so much more. And that's when it actually became a breeze, as they say.
Yeah, no, I think I'm so glad you took that. You broke the norm and you actually consulted
Yeah.
lactation consultant, which is so important. In my case, I remember when I was about to be discharged, it is mandatory for us to see a lactation consultant. She actually came in and taught me positions that, okay, these are the 4, 5 positions you can try. This is how a good latch is. This is a bad latch. This is what you need to know if your baby has a tongue tie. So I think it was fantastic from that perspective. I think I was so, and plus I had read so much about it in my prenatal classes. We also have access to all of those things. I think Canada birth, they make you so well aware. They make you prepared for the worst so that you know the nitty gritties of when's a red flag, when you know things are going smooth. So yeah, I think closing this segment, about milk supply, I think we have definitely put down some great things that moms can add in their feeding moms can add in their diet. In addition to that, always open to meeting lactation experts, and I think definitely gynecologists and pediatricians, everybody, they should also be open to talking more about lactation experts.
Definitely. So important.
Yep. Okay, Balak, let's talk about breast pumps. Did you actually need one in India?
I think breast pumps you need everywhere if you
Yeah.
need some sort of mobility. I think the major use of breast pump I'm doing now when I've started working. I think all moms do, and they deserve a breast pump for sure. Breast pump is not just a machine where you pump out the milk and you give it to your baby. It is so much more. It is some sort of self care where you can actually have that little time to yourself if you need to. That comfort of going out, getting a small break, and most importantly, I think dividing the caregiving duties with your husband, because there's everything that they can do under the sun to take care of the baby. And this is one thing with which the mom is stuck through and through.
So true.
And it's a 24-hour thing. It's not like it just ends every 2 hours. You're
Full-time job.
100%. And then with that, I think a pump comes in handy, and you feel blessed for the half an hour that you get to yourself.
Palak, half an hour is way too less. I think once you pump, baby definitely needs you. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, baby needs you all the time. I mean, babies, I think we need our moms. Babies need us for sure. But yeah, whatever little break you can catch, it is so important. Yeah. I mean, when you are in the newborn fog and you're figuring things out, it just feels blissful to have that little extra time to yourself.
Exactly. I think it can be a lifesaver. Whether you're sharing night feeds, you're going back to work, or you just need a long stretch of sleep. I think at night for even that's a blessing. I think so. I think the once that you need a breast pump, the next important thing for a mom is to figure out what sort of breast pump that you need.
Definitely.
So I think in my case, I've actually QC'd all sorts of breast pumps. I remember I started off with the Haka manual pump because I was feeding Ayan from one side, and I used to have stool sides. I used to manually collect from the pump. Right. 9 on 10. It was made of silicone. I had issues that from quality perspective, I don't think I should say that. So I think the first one that I tried was the manual, because when your feet the side, you're leaking on the other. So it was a great option to collect the extra milk. And after soon transition into the Medela freestyle pump, that's an electric pump.
Yep.
And it was great, perfect for the initial days. I splash of milk for Ayan because when I had work. But after about a certain point of time, I just felt so wired, tied up to those wires. The breast pump started making me, feel so depressed that, I started hating it after 1 year. And especially, after I had to join back work, I switched to the hands-free pump. I remember I used to the one by LV. It was I would say it's little costly. It's on the costlier side, but totally worth the investment. It was for about 500 USD. But I was actually pumping when I'm in the middle of a meeting. When I joined back work, I was pumping at my workplace, and I'm sitting in a meeting and I'm pumping. Nobody gets to know what I'm doing. Hardly any sound, and collecting decent amount of milk, making me feel less engorged at work. So that ways, I think again, totally depends on your budget and your situation. Which one fits for you. But I think for me, the total game changer was the hands-free pump.
Okay. And I think the maximum amount of milk that I was able to get out of my body was when I was using Medela. I think I tried a lot of breast pumps. The problem with me was that I couldn't find the right size of flannel for myself. So Medela was good because it fit. But the problem for me was that I always have to hold a pump.
Yeah.
I tried looking for variables, but because of my size again, I got stuck. There are no variables available in my size. I tried one. I borrowed it from a friend. I think which is a great idea. Everybody should borrow a pump before they buy it. It's a huge investment, and you are going to use it on day-to-day basis. I borrowed two. Medela I borrowed from you, and then from another friend, which was a variable. With variable, it did not fit. Like I would keep it. There's no sound. It's not visible. Everything is perfect, but it
Again,
just doesn't fit. Yeah,
It's not solving the purpose.
Yep. So there's no milk coming out.
Yeah.
So then eventually, when I had to make the purchase, when I started going to work, I got Dr. Brown's,
Yeah.
which is again, it's a good one. It does the job. It is silent and, but again, not variable for me.
Yeah.
That's the saddest part.
Yeah, I think if I look back now, I don't like pumps because, initially I was excited, okay, I'm going to use it for a year. But eventually I just got so sick of it because, it's so depressing.
You just have to hold it and just keep waiting. And the problem is when you are pumping, I'm constantly looking at how much is tap out.
You become more conscious about how much milk you're producing, and then you go into that vicious cycle of, am I producing? He's not gaining enough weight. And then again, that vicious cycle of,
And it doesn't go off. Like at work also, when I'm pumping, I take good half an hour out from my schedule. I go to a room, I start pumping. And it is like, it's a thing. It's an instinct that you constantly want to see how much milk is there. The sad part is since I've started working, the supply has become less.
Yeah.
So whatever little I can, I try to pump and I take it back home. But yeah, now I've started a mix of formula and breast milk.
Yeah, so I think closing this segment with market is flooded with lots of gas pumps. I think you should choose on what sort of your what's your budget and what your pocket allows, and of course what's your usability. If you are going to be joining work early, you have to prepare a stash of milk for your child. Or if you're okay switching to formula in the early in early few months, then of course you don't need a stash. And breast pump doesn't come handy, so no judgment there, moms. Just do what have a discussion with your partner, figure out what's your long-term plan.
Yep.
And then then make a call, because it's a good investment. It's a fantastic investment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think let's move on to the next segment.
I think we've arrived at the most controversial segment of this podcast, which is feeding beyond a year. So I am approaching that phase, but Gunjan, you have been there. You've fed Ayan for good 2 years. What do you have to say?
Honestly, Palak, I think every mom should do what works for her and the baby. But I came to India when after 2 years, when I turned 2, and I was still breastfeeding him. And I was thrown with so many questions from everybody around, like, why are you still feeding him? The baby is old enough for real milk, and there's no benefit in your milk after 1 year. And don't you feel weird feeding such a big grown up child? I mean, I was very taken aback by these comments, and it was just so uncalled for. Like, it's a personal decision of me, and that I'm taking. It's my body, it's my baby.
Yes.
I honestly did not like so many comments that came over me. But
Yes, like nobody should have to like push those things on you. I mean, nobody can impose whether or not you will feed your baby.
Exactly. But and even Palak, when I discussed this with my doctor, he told me so many benefits that there's so much immunity that goes for.
It is so bad for people to have an opinion on what a mother wants to do with their kid. I think in India, or I think across the globe, if it is true, women women get so much backlash for everything.
Yeah.
Like especially mothers, what they do, how they teach their kids, how they punish them, how they want to discipline them. It is always ridiculed.
Everything is scrutinized.
Exactly. I think the other day, the I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I met with my doctor and I asked him that until when should I be feeding Yug? And he says that your baby is now he has teeth.
Yeah.
It's a natural course of it's the nature that's telling you that now your baby has teeth and they can start chewing food.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to do it, then don't do it.
Yeah.
And there's so much substance in that fact. Like I know there are WHO guidelines where they say you should breastfeed for 2 years, and I so want to do it, not because it is food for them, but it is more than food.
Yeah.
It is comfort. I think when I get back home, the first thing I do is I feed Yug, and he is stuck onto me for about 25 minutes, and there is no exaggeration there.
Yeah.
And it's a good feeling because that's an instant bonding. Like I'm looking at him, he's smiling at me,
Yeah.
his eyes looking at me. Is that just food? No, it is
love.
more than food. It is love. In the middle of the night when he wakes up, he's looking for it. Like he's constantly, trying to just latch on.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling that I can hold him close. I can feed him in the middle of the night, comfort him.
Yeah.
So if at all I'm going to feed him for the next 1 year, which everybody has started looking down upon already, कि अब तो ये बड़ा हो गया है. I will feed him because I want to keep that love, keep that comfort between us alive for a little longer.
So true. I think kudos to you all. I think I totally agree with you on that bonding thing. And I think Ayan, more than bonding, Palak, it's also great for immunity because Ayan joined daycare back in Canada when he turned 1. And those daycare virus, initially he was falling sick so often. And there was a time that he got hand, foot and mouth disease. There was a time, Palak, he got hand, foot and mouth disease. And he just couldn't keep any food, any milk, any solids, anything. Basically, his stomach couldn't keep anything. And for those 2 to 3 days where he was really sick, the only thing that gave him energy and got him back, was breastfeeding. So, I'm so glad that at such times I'm able to, just give him the immunity, give his body the nourishment it needs, whatever little capacity that I can do. So I think more
It
than
is so true.
Yeah,
And
I
I think I also want to keep doing that for as long as I can.
Yeah.
I mean, my sister already makes fun of the fact that I'll never be able to stop. But it's so magical because this is what I've read, that when the baby is feeding off your breasts,
Yeah.
there's some bacteria that gets passed on.
Yeah.
So even if it is a small fever that they have or a
Yeah.
cold, your milk automatically it adjusts to create that antibody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps your kid become and feel better.
And I think that's a very
Yeah.
that's a very India thing, I would say, because back in Canada, when I used to tell my pediatrician that he's 18 months, he's feeding, and everybody will like just encourage me that good on you, mom, that you're making that effort. You can do it till 2 years, and
You
and
must.
yeah, and every time I used to fall sick, the only thing my doctor, like the pediatrician, would say, just keep on the breastfeeding. It's okay. Just give him antibiotics and breastfeed. If it's okay if he's not eating anything, he's getting the right
Yes.
nourishment from you. So I think I'm so thankful to my body that I've been able to do that for 2 years, and thankful for my support system, my mom, who actually helped me in the initial
Yeah.
few days to adjust to breastfeeding, my husband, who's been like such a sweetheart during this phase, that and yeah, I think even now, okay, long term breastfeeding is great, but Palak, after 2 years, when you're just weaning them off, that's another story. That's so tough. So I think even when you're weaning, yeah, so even when you're weaning after long term breastfeeding, your body's been doing this for 2 years, so you need to do it very gradually, so that
Thank God.
the separation is not very tough for your baby,
Yeah.
because it becomes a habit. It
Mhm.
comes natural to them.
Mm.
So we need to be very mindful that even when you're doing that weaning off process, the detachment, we need to do it very slowly, very gradually, and so that they don't feel any discomfort, and you also don't have any anxiety.
And this is very real. I remember talking to one of the moms, and they said that they had a lot of rage issues when they weaned off their baby.
Yeah.
Like they would get angry. And it was a lot of it. I'm sure there are a lot of hormonal changes when you
Yeah.
start weaning off. it was bad for her.
It is bad for me as well. I think when you're weaning off, you just becomes. I think for that it took me about 7 to 10 days to wean him off, and I was just so angry and just so pissed, and it was just a very weird
natural thing.
yeah.
Like when you're feeding the baby and when you stop, it is
Yeah, I just felt like I'm letting go of something, and this is mine and Ayan special time of the day, and I was just so upset and letting go of it. But then, as they say, motherhood is just an act of letting go. So
that's
yeah,
such a sad thing.
yeah,
But yeah, the reality. I think the problem is that you are finally letting go of that newborn toddler phase where there's just that one thing that only you can do.
yeah.
Now the baby is everybody's. It's so difficult. I mean,
I hate that, as much as I'm very happy to see Ayan going to school, to see him becoming an independent boy, it just breaks my heart that, he doesn't need me as much as he used to, when he was born. And, he's turning 3 this month. And it's a very, very bittersweet feeling that, you just somehow,
can't
someday,
even imagine. I think
yeah.
that is how sometimes. Okay, I'll tell you this one thing which is very, very like weird. I don't know
Yeah.
if this has happened with you. So sometimes when I'm at work, I feel like weirdly full.
Yeah.
And that day when I speak to my mom,
Yeah.
she would usually tell me that he's looking for you. So
Yeah.
you get that in your breast. There's something that happens. It's very weird. You feel more fuller. You feel like I think you just
You know what you're feeling, because when you think of your child, that's when also your milk supply increases.
it is like
Yeah, it is all scientifically.
it is just I know it is so true.
I actually took this consulted about this to my pediatrician, that when I'm at work, or even when I think of my child, I see his old photos. Used to have you used to start leaking.
Used to, yeah, it's so true. And that is why they promote skin to skin so much, because the moment you put the baby on your skin,
Yeah.
something happens and milk just starts to
Yeah.
come. It's a beautiful process. I think this one thing I'm so thankful to God for, that only women can do it. I would not want to share it with anyone else.
Yeah, it's just something that belongs to you and your child. It's very special. And yeah, I think I just feel very emotional today that he's turning 3.
His birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
चलो प्लीज अब और बात नहीं करते हैं, रो पड़ूंगी.
Okay, so this brings us to the end of this podcast.
Yes.
We loved talking about breastfeeding, and we'd like to know more about your journey as well. There's so many issues that we spoke about. If you would like us to cover anything else, please share in the comment section.
Yes, and I hope you're able to plan your breastfeeding journey, the must-haves, the breast pump, the milk supply, food, everything. I hope you're able to just navigate through this journey a lot more easy thanks to this podcast. And if you like it, please feel free to subscribe, like, follow, and join us on this journey.